Well, hello, class. We are continuing our discussion of algebra today, and we've already done some foiling this semester. How about, let's see, let's just review foiling. 2x minus 3 times 4x minus 7, let's say. 2x minus 3 times 4x minus 7. First, outer, inner, last. Let's go. Just notice, the last time I think we were foiling, but instead of x's, we were using i's, and the I square you had to replace with what? Who remembers? When you got an I squared, you replaced it with negative
one.
Negative one, yeah.
Yes.
But this is no i's. We're done with the i's. For today, I don't think we'll see any i's.
No eyes today.
Okay, so foiling out. 2x times 4x, that's 8x squared. So first, then outer, inner, last. First, outer, is that going to be a negative 14x? Then the inner, a minus 12x.
And what's the last one?
Negative 3 times negative 7. Positive 21. Now remember, none of that I square is negative 1 or anything. Oh, yeah, let me move it over. Now, we're doing some like terms we can combine here. What can I add together? Nothing to combine with the 8x squared, right? So, all right, 8 equals 8x squared. But this outer and inner term, can I combine those? When I combine the outer and inner, what am I getting?
Negative 26.
Negative 14 minus 12, or negative 14 plus a negative 12 is negative 26x. And then the last number, 21. So this first number here, the first term, we got by multiplying the first two terms. This last number, 21, we got by multiplying the last two numbers. But the middle term comes from combining the O and I. Okay. Let's do one more. Because in algebra, in math, you always do stuff one way, then you do it in reverse. Right here we're foiling. In a moment, what we're going to be doing today is factoring, which is when we go backwards. Start with this and end up with the two sets of parentheses. Okay? That's why I'm reviewing factoring right now. Excuse me, foiling. How about 5x plus 9 times 3x minus 8? If we FOIL that out, what are we going to get? 15x squared. And then 5x times a negative 8x. Is that a minus 40x?
Yes.
What's the inner product going to be?
9 times 3x
3x
is...
squared.
What? This one right here.
27x.
Plus 27x. So we've done first, outer, inner, and the last?
72.
Plus or minus?
Negative.
Good. So, once again, the outer and inner are the ones we can combine. So the 15x squared, negative 40. Oh, I just realized something. I had eye surgery, and oh wow, it's so great. I have 20/20 vision, except when I'm reading. So I have these darn reading glasses I gotta be moving, trying to keep up with, because when reading, I do sort of need them. Now, what did y'all say negative 40 plus 27 is?
Negative 13.
Negative 13x. and minus 72. So, once again, this first one, 15x squared, that's what we got just by foiling the first two.
Uh-oh.
What just happened? You,
I messed with the wire with my foot.
how would you get your foot way over there?
I was stretching my foot, Tony.
Oh, okay. And then the negative 13x is when we combine the outer and inner, and then the last. I want you to start thinking about going backwards. Given this, the 8x squared minus 26x plus 21, get this. What we're going to be doing is just a trial and error reverse FOIL method. There's another method that you may have seen somewhere, which is absolutely the craziest thing I've ever seen. If you recall doing factoring, where the first thing you do is multiply the first number and the last number.
Oh, I heard about that.
Okay, that's not what I'm going to do. Okay?
It's sometimes called the AC method.
Because you're multiplying. If you call this A, B, C, you're multiplying A and C, I will never use that. Only trial and error.
Also known as reverse FOIL. You're just trying to reverse the FOIL process.
And it's not just going to be a random guessing. If we had this 8x squared minus 26x plus 21, and we were going backwards, the first thing I'm going to discuss is how do you decide whether you're going to have the two negatives inside here? What are the possibilities? Inside parentheses, you could have a minus minus, you could have a plus plus, or you could have one plus and one minus. That's the only thing only possibilities. I'm going to say how to factor ax squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c.
Where a is positive.
Yes.
That leading coefficient you'll always want to be positive for these factoring rules, sign rules to work out.
What I was about to do is draw this. I'm always going to assume the first number is positive, and by the end of class you'll see why that, and certainly the next assignment, you'll see why that's a sensible assumption. The first number will be positive, and then I'm going to call this symbol right here, whether it's plus or minus, I'll call that the first sign, and I'm going to call this number, or this symbol here, the second sign. So with my terminology, if we had the 8x squared minus 26x plus 21, and we were trying to go backwards, we didn't know this. Notice the first number is always positive. A is always positive. The first sign is a minus. The second sign is a plus. I'm going to make a little table, and I always laughingly say the table makes sense to people that know how to do this stuff. Okay? Usually when other teachers see it, they laugh at first and then they're like, oh wow, I understand that table, but how do your students do with it? Well, usually pretty good. Okay, let me lift it up a little. Oh, flatten this, move this over, and focus again, just to make sure. Now that I've okay. So I'm making a little table. It's going to be 4 columns and 3 lines, but I'm going to use more than just 3 lines of notebook paper. And it's going to start out like this. Ooh. The second sign, 4 columns. Okay, so second sign. Okay, I'll go with that. If the second sign is a plus, look over here. We had a positive 21 as our last number or last term. What sort of numbers give you multiply together to give a positive 21? Okay, I'll give you the choice. Is it 1 plus and 1 negative, or 2 pluses or 2 minuses? The answer is actually 2 of those I just gave you. What sort of numbers multiply together to give a positive? Different signs or same signs? Same signs. Like to get this positive 21, the 3 and the 7 were both negative. Negative times negative is positive. So the way we'll look at this and decide, okay, what are the signs? If the second sign is plus, it's going to be 2 of the first sign.
Inside the parentheses, that's what he means.
Yes,
If the second sign's a plus, you have 2 of the first signs in the parentheses.
Factored form, that's the second column, has 2 of the first sign. So if you're going backwards, starting here and doing a reverse FOIL, filling these in, the first thing I try to do is fill in those signs. If the second sign is plus, 2 of the first sign. Because either 2 negatives or 2 positives are the only way you're going to multiply together to get a positive. But what about if the second sign was negative? If the second sign is negative, what sort of numbers multiply together to give a negative number? Y'all know that. What kind of numbers multiply together to give a negative 72? 2 with the same sign or opposite signs? Opposite signs. So 1 plus and 1 minus. Again,
That's what you have here. That last sign's a minus, so inside the parentheses you expect to have 1 plus and 1 minus. And that's what we had.
now, for these signs, I will fill them in immediately if it's this first case. If it's the second sign is plus, you have 2 of the first sign. Second sign is plus, 2 minuses. I'd fill it in first, immediately. I know it's 2 minuses. But if the second sign is negative, we have 1 plus and 1 minus. I'll wait to fill those in. So fill in immediately. And on the other one, I'll wait to fill it in. Again, those teachers that have told me, oh, this table makes sense to me, but do your students understand it? I think generally by the time you get the hang of this, it makes sense. Okay? So I've told you how to decide on the signs. Second sign is plus, 2 of the first sign. Second sign is minus, 1 plus and 1 minus. I'll wait to fill those in. Now, something about these numbers here. Look at the outer and inner. If the second sign is plus, the 14 and 26 add together. Excuse me, the 14 and 12 add together to get the 26. But here, when the second sign is minus, you have 1 negative and 1 positive. You're not really adding 40 and 27 to get the 13. You're subtracting. So to get middle term from O and I, if the second sign is plus, we add the numbers. You're adding 14 and 12 to get 26. Ignore the signs. Just adding them to get 26. Down here to get 13, the 40 and 27, since one's positive and one's negative, you're subtracting. And I think I better do one of these problems before they
everyone leaves.
Yeah.
I can tell they're tuning out.
Yeah.
I was starting to tune out myself. And remember, you got to click the videos whether you watch them or not. Hopefully you won't need to watch those videos. You're here in class today, but still gotta click them before you can start the problems. Number 1.
It says factor. And then what all does it say? Select the, well, we'll discuss the fact that it's possible some stuff won't factor. Let me write this down. 2OB squared.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Be careful with these lowercase b's. What do they start looking like? What number, let me ask?
6s. I remember back when I gave paper tests, if I used a b as a variable, that would be the problem that people would miss the most, because somewhere along the way, they changed their b accidentally to a 6. And my artist from last semester even had a picture of that I should show y'all.
Yeah.
About the 7B. I made the mistake in class last semester. The 7B became a 76. So it was 7B plus 76 is what I was supposed to type. But then I thought it was 76 plus 76, so I typed in 152 as the answer. Did I get it right? Of course not. But she has it captured immortally in her paint or caricature. Well, forget it. Go ahead.
I've written down the problem.
Okay, I'll switch.
Our answer is going to be 2 sets of parentheses. So the first thing I always try to do is fill in the signs. So I wonder if this stuff right out here makes any sense.
Look here. What's the second sign? Look at it, number 1. Move your hand. They can tell me. What's the second sign?
Is it the first plus or the second plus? Well, right here. They're just not saying.
Okay.
The second sign is plus, so I'm looking at the first line.
Second sign is plus.
So
you use 2 of the first sign. So what are you going to have inside those
Plus.
parentheses?
I'll fill them in
plus.
immediately. If it had been the F, oh, this orange is not very dark. Oh, let's see why.
Give it to me. I'll put
Oh, and it looks blurry too. Oh, wait. That looks better.
Keep going.
Okay, look at what I've done. Okay, well now we need to fill in those first 2 spots. Let's do that. What numbers?
First times first has to give 2b squared.
What's the only numbers that multiply together to give 2? And when I say numbers, I mean counting numbers. Don't give me any
Positive
fractions.
integers.
Don't say 4 times a half. Only 2 numbers that multiply together to give 2 are?
2 and 10.
Okay, 1 times 2.
So you can use a 1b and a 2b. That's the only option for the first spot. 1b times 2b. Now for the last. Last times last has to give
5.
5.
What are the only 2 numbers that multiply together to give 5?
1 and 5.
1 and 5. Well, you've got to decide, where do I put the 1 and the 5? Okay? It's not just put it in either place. You want to make sure that your outer and inner terms are adding together to get an 11. So if I'm putting these little marks here for outer and inner, if I put a 1 here and a 5 there, would that give me an 11b? If I had a 1 here and a 5 there, play around with it.
No.
Okay, no. What if I did this? If I put the 5 there and the 1 there, is that going to give me
No.
11? Look, wait.
Or am I at 5 times 2?
Outer would be, these marks are just
1B.
outer and inner. The outer would be 1b. The inner would be 10b. Do they add together to give the middle term?
Yes.
I've got it correct. This is the factored form. Sometimes the little marks right here give students trouble. What I'm doing is just foiling out, okay? But I'm only foiling out the outer and inner.
You already know first times first equals 2b squared. You wouldn't have written it down, the b and 2b. You wouldn't have put that there if it didn't give you 2b
Like you wouldn't have
squared.
used a 1 and 3 because 1 and 3 don't multiply together to give a 2. Okay?
All you have to check are the outer and the inner.
But I'm
Do
going to
the
go ahead.
outer and inner combine to give you the middle term?
Right here, b times 1. That gives me the 1b. You could just write b if you want. 5 times 2b is a 10b. And then the 5 times 1, we know that's going to be a 5 because we only looked at numbers that multiply together to give a 5. Do the outer and inner combine together to give me that 11b? Yes. This is the final answer. 2 sets of parentheses. It doesn't matter which set of parentheses you write first.
But you have to have exactly the same thing inside the parentheses. You can't put b plus 1 and 2b plus 5. I do not recommend using this parentheses hot button because that's more for graphing ordered pairs. When you're ready to enter a parenthesis, just use your keyboard. Left parenthesis, b plus, what was it? 5. Right parentheses, left parenthesis, 2b plus 1. Any questions there?
Now, before we do number 2, I want to write a little bit.
Okay.
Okay? Oh, so my papers. If you're doing this correctly, there should be no common factors other than 1 in the parentheses. Yes, I am. By a common factor, I mean numbers that divide into it. Something like this. 4x plus 6. Is there a number other than 1 that divides into both a 4 and a 6? Is there some number other than 1? What number divides into both 4 and 6?
2. That cannot be the
Can't have
correct
that.
factorization. You can't use a 4x plus 6. That means you can't have 2 even numbers inside the parentheses.
You can't have 2 even numbers in the parentheses. What about 15x minus 20? Would that be okay to have in your answer? Is there a number other than 1 that divides into 15 and 20?
5? Nope. So you
Can't
couldn't
have
have
that.
that in the parentheses. Look back at the ones that you had, okay? Look back at the previous page. Notice
Oh, well, let me drag it up.
that would be a 1
1.
and a 5. The only thing that divides evenly into that is 1. What about 2 and 1? What's the only positive integer that divides evenly into 2 and 1? 1. You can't have
A
common
common
factors
factor.
inside the parentheses.
What about this set of parentheses? Would this one be okay? 4x minus 9. Is there a number other than 1 that divides into both 4 and 9?
No.
No.
Okay, so
That's
that would
okay.
be okay.
Sometimes that'll knock out a lot of possibilities because I guess you can start to imagine this first one we did was really nice because it was a 2 and a 5.
Both prime numbers.
Yeah. What if this 2 had been a 12?
Look back at that one at the very
Oh,
beginning.
yeah.
Look at that. Suppose, look, we have this second one. Last times last is 72. There's a lot of pairs of integers that multiply together to give you 72.
2 times
1
30.
times 72, 2 times 36, 3 times, 3 times.
Oh, what is it?
Oh, God.
4 goes into it, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. 5, 6.
Yes, it does. 4
6
times
times 12.
18.
Oh,
Is
okay,
that
yeah,
it?
you're right. But anyway, let's do number 2 right now.
Number 2. Oh, okay.
Let's do
Oops,
problem 2.
okay. Go on
I'm
to
going to
number
stop
2.
writing low on the page.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, they want you to see that the coefficient of x squared is a 6. I'm not sure why they wrote that there. It's sure easier if there's not a number in front of the x squared.
If the x squared coefficient is just a 1, that's called a simple trinomial because it's simple to choose the pair you need. What times what gives
And
you
we'll see
1
that.
x squared.
But they don't need to see it first because that
You're
gives
right.
them all sorts of bad ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
What do we know about the signs?
will there be a plus plus, a minus minus, or one of each? Look back. The second sign is what? You see what I mean when I was trying to, if you thought I was sounding like an idiot talking about first sign and second sign, here's the second sign.
Back
Look at the second line of the table. If the second sign is minus, 1 plus and 1 minus. So I'll wait to fill those in. Why am I waiting? Because I don't know where the plus goes. Does it go here or here? I don't know where the minus goes. I'm just going to make a note. It should be a plus and a minus. Now, I'll write out the numbers that multiply together to give me 6. See, there's 2 pairs. There's 1 times 6 and what else?
2 times 3.
Oh, you ain't.
Oh.
Now, what about 21? Let's go ahead and write out the numbers that multiply together to give 21. There's 1 times 21. 1 and the number is always a pair, possible pair. There's one other pair, isn't it?
7 and 3.
3 times 7? Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to have to play around with it and figure out which pairs work. Remember, years and years ago, before any of y'all were born, 33 years ago, I had a student, a hostel student, I don't have hostel students anymore, but a hostel student who said to class when we were doing this, you're just making this stuff work out. Everyone in class laughed. And I thought, oh, how am I going to handle this? And I said, you're right. That is smart. I'm going to remember that and tell everyone. Here I am 33 years later, still talking about it. I'm making it work out. I'm not going to put a 5 and a 7 right here because 5 times 7 doesn't multiply to give us 6. I can only use a 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. I'm going to generally start with the numbers that are closer together. I'm going to try 2. Was that an X? Did I miscopy the problem? Oh, okay. 2x, 3x. And now I'm going to try to make it work out with the 3 and 7. If that won't work, I'll try the 1 and 21, but that 21 times something's going to get pretty big, and so I'm thinking I'm going to try it with the 3 and 7. If I'm going to have a 3 and 7, well, how can I arrange them? Could I have a 3x plus or minus 3? Is that okay? Can you have 2 of the same number in parentheses?
Both of those numbers are divisible by what? Should be obvious. 1 and 3. They're divisible by 3. That cannot be correct.
You can't have 2 of the same numbers.
Just like you can't have 2 even numbers inside the parentheses. You can't have 2 exactly same numbers inside the parentheses if you're factoring correctly.
The scribble right here says 2 same. You can't have 2 of the same numbers. So I can't put the 3 there. I don't even need to try it. Let's see. If I put the 3 here and the 7 here, notice how I'm making these work out. Is there any common factor other than 1? Nope. Now, if
2 and 3 are only divisible by 1. 3 and 7 divisible by 1.
You see, like the first terms are 6x squared. The last term gives me a 21. I now need to figure out how to arrange the plus and minus to see if I can get a minus 5x. Well,
Back at the table.
I'm going to look back at the table, but these little marks are just for my outer and inner. If you just want to foil it out horizontally, that takes up less paper, but I sort of like to see how I'm getting this outer and inner stuff written out. Like if you were foiling, the outer term would be a 14x. What would the inner term be? 9x.
Now look back at that table.
This is the second case. Okay, we got one plus and one minus that we're going to have to put in. Can I subtract my outer and inner terms to get that middle term? If I subtract 14 and 9,
Will that give me 5?
I think it will.
Yes.
14 minus 9 is 5, but I need a negative 5x. So it's up to you to make it work out.
You need a negative 5x.
How do I arrange to get a negative 5? Which one should be negative? The 9 or the 14?
14.
The
Yes.
14 should be negative.
The bigger one should have the sign of the middle number. I mean, that first sign right there, or the sign on the middle number.
That's a positive.
And this will be plus. So chasing those signs, what goes in front of the 3? If I'm going to get a positive 9x, what do I put in front of the 3? A plus or a minus?
Plus.
Plus. And in front of the 7, I
Minus.
get a minus. And you can check your answer. How? Foil it out. You foil it out. You'd get a 6x squared, then a minus 14x, and a plus 9x. That's what I'm doing right here to get that minus 5x, and then a negative 21.
Realize the order in which the parentheses is written doesn't matter. You could type in 3x minus 7 first, and then the 2x plus 3.
Yeah, go ahead.
But you have to have the same thing inside the parentheses. You can't have a 2x minus 3 and a 3x plus 7. You have to have exactly the same thing inside the parentheses, but you can put the second parentheses step before the first. Multiplication is
Go ahead.
commutative.
Why don't
So
you
let's
keep it?
type in. And to illustrate, I'm going to type that second one first. 3x minus 7. And the other one is a 2x plus 3. Tony, I think you play with your microphone more than I
It's
do.
this darn chain or string on these glasses that, there. Okay, I'll try not to take them.
And notice they gave it to me correct. Some terminology. A prime number is a number that can be written as a factor of any two numbers other than one in itself. A prime polynomial is one that can't be written as a product other than one and itself. So if a polynomial is prime, if a trinomial is prime, you cannot factor it. And so once again, the terminology, trinomial means you have how many terms?
3.
3. Try. 1, 2, 3. What else? Next one.
No, I want to write something down. Just so you'll see an example of a prime trinomial. Suppose we had this, x squared plus 7x plus 19. Could we do what we just done? Get the two sets of parentheses. Well, the second sign is plus, so what signs would I have in here? Second sign is plus, so 2 of the first signs. Does this table make any sense at all? I'm looking at this sign right here. So what am I going to have inside here? 2 pluses, 2 minuses, or 1 of each?
2 pluses.
2 pluses. If the The second sign is plus, 2 of the first sign. Now there's not a number on the x square, and so all you do is put x in x. We know that.
X times x gives x squared.
What are the only two numbers that multiply together to give 19? I'll get it started. 1 and
1 and
19. Good.
1 and 19. 19 is prime, so those are the only factors.
So if I put the 1 and 19 in there,
Those
okay,
are the only
this one's
possibilities.
1. If I put that there, that's the only thing I could do. Even if I reverse the 19 and 1, I'd still have x plus 1 and x plus 19. If I FOIL that out, am I going to be able to get a 7x for the middle term? What would I get if I FOILed this out for the middle term? I'd have a 19x and a 1x. FOILing it out, you'd have an x squared plus 19x plus 1x plus 19. Y'all follow that FOILing? Are my outer and inner terms combining to give the middle term? No. Prime. Or not factorable. Sometimes it won't say prime, it'll just say not factorable. Okay? Let's do number 4. And you know what? I'm going to move on to another sheet of paper. Uh-oh. Ooh, I see why you're saying uh-oh. You want to take
Well,
those?
there's one nice thing about this.
Oh, yeah, there is. Okay. 20c squared plus 73c plus 63. Make sure that you're using the right variable. So often when I'm doing these, I'll switch the letter to x. Okay, so, oh gosh. I'm going to need numbers that multiply together to give 20 and numbers that multiply together to give 63. But let's first do my little table and decide on the signs.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wait. Okay.
What do we know about the signs?
2 plus.
They're both plus.
The second
sign's a plus. 2 are the first signs.
So I'll go ahead and put the plus in because I know what it is. As if it's some second sign's a minus, I'll wait to fill it in because I don't know where the plus goes and where the minus goes. Numbers that multiply together to give 20. There's 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and one other pair of numbers.
5 times
4
4.
times 5, okay.
Oh yeah, you put a dot there, and I just write them as pairs. I always just put a comma. That's 1 times 20. I'm trying to do it the way Tim does it. 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. See, Tim, I never did it.
Oh, no, you don't.
Now, what about 63? Oh, gosh. What numbers multiply together to give 63? There's 1 times 63. 2 doesn't divide into 63. What about 3?
3 times 21.
4 doesn't divide into it. 5, 6,
7
7
7 times 9.
And if you look at how I'm going, 1, 3, 7, 8 doesn't divide into it. 9, I'm already there. So here are the 3 pairs that multiply together to give 63, and it's just going to be up to you to figure out which pairs work. Okay?
What pair do you want to start with for 20c squared? Do you have a feeling of which one's going to work? If you don't, then try the closest pair. More times than not.
The pairs that are closest together on the number line.
4 and 5.
1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5 are side by side. I'm going to try that. 4c times 5c. Oh gosh, all of these just have a common factor of 1, so my little common factor rule isn't going to help us. Oh, gosh, 7 and 9. Okay, if I put it, I'm going to try it with 7 and 9 first. And if this doesn't work out,
then we'll reverse the 9 and the 7.
oh, I have some erasable pens here. I should have used that. This one isn't erasable, but okay.
What's the outer product?
If we multiply 4c times
36C.
9, is that a 36c?
36C.
And what about the inner? The 7 times 5 is
35C.
35. Ooh.
Well, we're close.
Are they going to add together? We want them to add. Look at that first line. We need those numbers to add together to give.
71.
They get a 71, not a 73. So that doesn't work. If I were doing this with pencil, just on paper, I'd erase the 7 and 9 and reverse it. But I don't like to sit up here and erase stuff. Let's try reversing the 7 and 9.
What's the outer product?
Okay. The inner product we know, it's 20c squared. 4 and 5 are going to give 20. The last, excuse me, the first is going to be is 20c squared. The last is 63. So all we're interested in is the outer and the inner. What's that outer going to be? A 28c. And the inner, is that?
45c.
Uh-huh. Are those going to add together to give what? What do we want it to add together to give?
73.
73. Do they add together to give 73?
Yes.
And we have done it. There it is. Here's our 2 sets of parentheses. If it says factor in the instructions, your final answer is going to be 2 sets of parentheses.
And it's a trinomial.
Oh, yeah.
And if 7 and 9 hadn't worked, hopefully you can see the task ahead of you. If 7 and 9 hadn't worked, we would have tried 3 and 21. If that didn't work, we would have tried 1 and 63. If that hadn't worked, we wouldn't know that it's prime. We just have to say, okay, 4 and 5 is wrong. Let's try 2 and 10. So hopefully there won't be any of that. Oh, I better type it in. Hopefully there won't be any of that messy, but it is factorable. 4c plus 9 and a 5c plus 7.
Okay, let's do number 5.
There is something fundamentally wrong with this problem.
8c squared minus 2 minus 15c.
There is something fundamentally wrong with this problem. I couldn't hear you.
Right. Oh, you're using terminology I haven't even used yet. But yes, it is. In order to factor this stuff, look at when you FOIL it out, it ends up with c squared, c, and then constant. The last number is called a constant. Notice there's no variable on it. This problem shouldn't have been written like this. It should have been written 8c squared, then a minus 15c minus 2. That's called descending order.
Based on the exponents. The biggest exponent, c squared, c to the first, and finally no c's.
Mm-hmm. That's called descending order for exponents. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll draw my 2 sets of parentheses.
do we know the signs inside there? Can we fill them in right now?
No.
The second sign is a minus. So there's going to be one plus and one minus. We'll wait to fill those in. So a plus and a minus. I'll just make a note of that there.
So you don't forget it.
And I need numbers that multiply together to give 8. Well, there's 1 times 8, and what else?
4 times 2.
Uh-huh. Now,
And that's all for 8. What about for 2?
3 times 1.
uh-huh. Now, that's the only thing possible for 2. So I'm going to do something that I've done that different from what I've been doing. Since I know it's got to just be 1 and 2, I'll fill those in first. It's these things here that are going to give us the problem. Oh, wow. This problem is tailor-made for my little rule that I made up right here. There should be no common factors other than 1. In other words, can you have 2 even numbers in a set of parentheses? Say no.
No.
No. So with that in mind, oh wow, this is a great problem.
Try to use 2 and 4. Normally we start with this pair that's closest together. It doesn't matter if you put the 2 here and the 4 here. If you have the 4 there, the last set of parentheses, 2 even numbers.
You can't have a 4 here.
So as we put the 4 in the first one and the 2 in the second one, would that be okay?
No, it'd still be 2 even numbers. So the 2 and 4 cannot work. Again, like that student said, I'm making these things work out. What about 1 times 8? Well,
Can you put the 8 here in the second set of parentheses? No, because you'd have 2 even
only
numbers.
place you can do it. 8 there, and I guess I'll just write C. If you want to write 1C,
My lab would accept the 1C. I'll tell you what I see on tests, unfortunately. People are typing the first set of parentheses 8 plus 1, and then the second one 1 minus 2, or what have you. What do they forget to put in the parentheses? The variable. So don't forget, it's 8C and 1C. Don't forget the variable. You have to have letters in those parentheses also. The first term in the parentheses.
so let's look at the outer. If we just want to do it like this, outer and inner. The outer term would be a 16C. The inner term is a 1C, or if you just want to write C, that's fine. But we need a negative 15C. If we subtract 16 and 1, we get 15. So to get a negative 15C, you know what, I really like my little marks.
I like your
that.
marks better.
Yeah, okay. The bigger number is going to have to be negative, and the smaller one positive. On that second case, if we're looking at the outer and inner, the bigger one will always have the sign of that middle term, that first sign right there. So how do I need to arrange the plus and the minus sign to get a negative 16?
Should the minus be here, or in the first set, or the second set? You're trying to get a minus 16, a negative 16C. Where should the minus go? The second in front of that 2.
Now, how do I check and make sure this is right?
Foil it out.
Foil it out. Okay? We'd have an 8C squared, and then a minus 16C, and a plus 1C. Those combine to give me the minus 15C, and then minus 2. By the way, once I rewrite this thing in descending order,
Do not look back
I'm
at the
through with
original
that
problem.
one, okay?
Any questions there? Box in the final answer so they know what I'm about to
yeah.
type in.
So if it's not in the right order, you would just fix it, right?
If it wasn't in the right order, I would fix it.
The signs? Or
Like
which
how
one?
it is, like how
Oh,
it's.
yes, Yeah, it's got to have that variable squared, then variable, then constant.
Okay.
Just rewrite it so it is. Okay? Okay. The plus and minus. Okay. If the second sign is plus, that's when you just put two of the first sign. Remember what I'm talking about? The first sign, the second sign. So on this one, the second sign was minus, not a plus. So if the second sign is minus, one plus and one minus. So that's why I made a note, one plus and one minus. Then the bigger outer and inner, the bigger number has the sign of that middle term. In order to get a negative 15c, the bigger number, the 16, has to be the negative one. Okay? You follow that? You're chasing those signs, you're making it work out. Now, sometimes people will say, teachers will say, just put plus and minus, and if you get the wrong sign, then reverse.
That's what I would do.
Okay? But since I'm using pen up here and I don't like having to erase signs and stuff, that's why I wait to fill them in. And that's how I do it when I'm not, if I'm just sitting in my office. I'm going to wait to fill it in.
What's next?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Okay, 6x squared minus 19x plus 7. Oh, I like the way this one says, use FOIL to check your answer.
Mm-hmm. 6x squared minus 7. Okay.
Okay, we were just talking about the signs.
There's something nice about the signs. We know something definite. We're not have to try to figure out the signs. What do we know?
What do we have inside here? The second sign is plus. So
two of the first signs. So a minus and a minus.
And a minus. Since 7 is prime, only numbers that multiply together to give us 7 are 1 and 7. I'm going to go ahead and write those. Now, numbers that multiply together to give 6. Well, there's a couple of them. There's 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Which pair of numbers do you want to try first? Will my little trick with no common factors help on this one? Nah. 2, 3, 1, 7.
Okay, what do y'all want to try for 6? 1 times 6 or 2 times 3? We'll let y'all decide. If you have no idea and you're just guessing blindly, odds favor which pair?
Closer ones.
What numbers are closer together? 1 and 6 or 2 and 3? What's the difference for 1 and 6? 5? What's this difference?
1.
So try the 2 and 3.
I'll try the 2 and 3.
Will that definitely work? I don't know.
No.
But odds favor more times than not.
If we look at the inner product and the outer, we have a negative 3c. And what's this outer here? A negative 14c. Are those going to add together to give a 19, negative 19? No. Okay. There's really 4 possible things here. And this first one doesn't work. So what I would suggest, what I would try then.
Reverse the 2c and the 3c.
I still have the minus 1 and the minus 7. Let me try reversing the 3c and the 2c. Oh, where am I getting C's? It's X.
Oh, yeah, it is
Oh.
an X. I don't know.
Why didn't you?
I didn't notice.
X, 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 X.
You do that on my lab. You type the variable C instead of the letter X when the problem is X.
This looks so bad here. Let me just try it like that. While I'm correcting myself, y'all decide, FOIL this out. Will this work? It'll sure give me the 6x squared and the positive 7, right? But when I say, will this work, what am I asking? Oh, for a second, I thought it was going to work.
No.
Look at this. We're getting a negative 21x and a negative 2x.
Remember, because that last sign is a plus, you have to add them. Do those add together to give you a negative 19? Mm-mm.
Yeah, these would subtract to give a 19. That no table. Okay? If the second sign is plus, they got to add together to give that middle term. 21 and 2 don't add together to give a 19.
So 3 and 2 do not work. Well, maybe 1x times 6x will work. So let's try it all over again. 1x times 6x.
So if we have 1x times 6x. If I started foiling that out, I'd sure get the 6x squared, and I'd get a plus 7 for the last term. But are the outer and inner terms combining to give a negative 19x? We have a negative 7x and a negative 6x. Do those add together to give a negative 19x? No.
Gives a negative 13x, so that's not it either. There's only one other possibility we can check.
What have I not tried of?
Maybe reverse the 6x and the 1x. Put the 1x with the minus 7 and the 6x with the minus 1.
Is that going to give a negative 19x? Right off, when I get that negative 42x.
There's no way you're going to get it down to a negative 19x.
We have a negative 42x, and what's this one here?
Negative 1x. Negative 1 plus negative 42 is a negative 43. Is that what we needed? We've gone through every possibility. What do we have to conclude? Can that trinomial be factored? No, so it's prime. Either they'll want you to say not factorable or prime. Let's see.
But sometimes it might be, like I made up one that was prime. It's
There
pretty
it is.
easy to tell that
Yeah.
one that I made up wasn't factorable. But this one, oh wow.
It took some doing.
Yeah. And if they changed that minus 19 to minus 21, it would have sure been factorable.
This was prior
Or
to the
minus
90s.
17.
This was called trial and error factoring. The name was sort of changed to reverse FOIL because people didn't like that phrase trial and error, because you try something, if it's not right, you try something else. But problem like this, trial and error, seems like a good name for it. You try something, if it doesn't work, keep on trying until you exhaust all the possibilities.
Let's try number 8.
Okay. Number 8.
My confidence. Let's try.
I'm going to take over.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure that I'm not sure
Do you
that
have your
your pedagogy
microphone?
is working today.
Yeah, I know.
And I just keep wanting to say something. I want to start writing and do something.
Okay. Is this working? Is this working?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me write the problem down. Oh, this looks like a nice one. 5r minus
5r squared.
5r squared minus 14r minus 3. This is number 8.
No, what?
5r squared minus 14r minus 3. Okay, switch to the paper.
Okay. Okay.
Well, 5 is a prime number. There's only one pair of counting numbers you can multiply together to give you 5. That's a 1 times 5. 3 is also prime. That's nice. 1 times 3 is the only possibility there. Let's write our 2 sets of parentheses. What do we know about the signs in there? Are we going to have same signs or different signs? What do you look at to make the decision?
The second sign.
That second sign. If the second sign's a minus, what sort of signs are you going to have?
Plus and a minus.
Plus and a minus.
What I always think, I look and see, and when I see the second sign is minus, you know what I think? Oh, darn.
You
I
sort of
coulda-
inwardly groan.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because do you agree it's nicer when that second sign's a plus? Because there's none of this deciding, well, where does the plus go? Where does the minus go?
It's either
But here-
2 pluses or 2 minuses.
But it's not that bad because we have a 5r squared, 1r and 5r. That's the only possibility. Now 1 times 3. Well, what do y'all? I'll let y'all tell me. What do y'all want to do? There's not that many possibilities here. Either the 1 goes here and the 3 goes there, or we reverse 3 and 1. If neither of those work, then we have to conclude it's prime. But I'll tell you right now, there won't be a whole lot of prime possibilities. And that's true on the test also. I'll see people going through on the test and
Prime. Well, maybe there's one prime, but there's
not going to be multiple prime problems. I want you to get it factored, okay? So with that in mind, what do y'all want to do? What do you want to put here? I'll let you decide. You want to try the 1 first or the 3 first? 3 first, okay. Put the 3. I think someone's already done it while I was talking. And so let's check. Let's check the outer product.
Are you going to make it work out, Tim?
I'm going to make it work, Tony. That's a 1R. Let's check the inner product. That's a 15R. And remember that little table of Tony's. Where is it? Let's see, where is it? That last sign's a minus. The last sign's a minus. That means the outer and inner need to subtract to give you this number here, 14. To give it 14. Does 5R and 1R,
15R.
15R and 1R, does that subtract to give us 14R?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. But this time we need a negative 14R. So which of these numbers, 15R or 1R, which one needs to have the minus sign? The 15, the minus sign goes on the bigger number. Negative 15 plus 1. Yeah, that gives us a negative 14R. So to get a negative 15R, where should I put the minus? Do I put the minus in front of the 3 or in front of the 1 to get a negative 15R? Put the minus in front of the 3. That means we have a positive in front of the 1. Let's check that. The outer product, R times positive 1 is a positive 1R. Negative 3 times a positive 5R gives me a negative 15R. Negative 15 plus 1 gives me a negative 14R.
Maybe write that one out. Foil it out horizontally.
Okay, let's foil it out. Y'all help me foil this out. We're checking here, okay? First, r times 5r is 5r squared. Outer, r times 1r is a plus 1r. What's my inner product?
Negative 15.
Negative 15r. What's the last product? Last times last.
Minus 3.
So we got the 5r squared and the minus 3 that we needed. What's 1r minus 15r?
Negative 14.
The negative 14r, sure enough, that's what we needed. So our factorization, I'm going to clean it up. It's r minus 3 times 5r plus 1. Suppose I type the 5r plus 1 first. Is that okay? Is it okay to have the 5r plus 1 first and then the r minus 3?
Yes.
Yes. The order in which you write the parentheses doesn't matter as long as you have the same stuff inside it. You couldn't have an r plus 3, but you couldn't have a 5r minus 1, but the order in which you write the parentheses does not matter. Which one do you want Tony to type first? R minus 3 or 5r plus 1? It makes no difference.
R minus 3.
R minus 3. When I'm setting up the parentheses, if I'm, my habit is I go small to big. 1 is smaller than 5, so I put the 1r and then the 5r.
So
You may be
yeah.
working with a tutor that puts the 5r and then the 1.
I'm not ever
And so that-
consistent with
No,
that.
you see,
know,
I'm
sometimes
very consistent. I shouldn't be because really it doesn't matter as long as you have the same stuff inside it. Do you have a 5r plus 1 inside the parentheses? Yes. Do you have an r minus 3? Yes. Any questions there? That little table regarding signs is very important to help you master assigning the signs inside the parentheses. What else
Are you gonna
am I going to do?
do a little writing before we do the next one?
I don't know what the
Equations?
next one is. Oh, we're already solving equations? Let's see.
Notice
Okay.
how this one is different. This is
Ah,
problem 10.
I thought I'd forgotten that was in this assignment. Okay.
Look at these instructions. Years ago, I remember a student laughing with me that his math teacher was an idiot because he told him to study the instructions. I was a new teacher. This was like 1991 at a local Chinese restaurant that's still here. Talking to a waiter, saying, "Oh, do you teach math at demo?" "Yes." And he then told me, I asked him, made the mistake of asking, "So how are you doing?" Because he said he was taking it. And he said, "I'm doing okay, but my teacher's an idiot." I immediately want to disengage. Okay?
Long story short, because his teacher told him to study the instructions. And so now Tony's telling y'all to study the instructions. Look at the instructions. It says solve the equation. Look back at the previous problem we did. There was no equation there. It said factor completely.
If
Any-
it says factor, your answers are going to be in parentheses. If it says solve an equation,
Your answer will be numbers.
might
The
be a
variable
fraction.
equals numbers. Now, I'm going to do a little writing right now. Quadratic equation. We're going to make the assumption that, an equation is anything that has an equal sign, okay? 1 plus 2 equals 3. Anything with an equal sign is an equation. A quadratic equation is any equation in the form, or that can be written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a doesn't equal 0. If a were 0, 0 times x squared would just be 0. You wouldn't have an x squared. In order to be quadratic, you must have an x squared term. That means a cannot be 0. We're going to look at three over the upcoming week. We're going to look at three different methods of solving quadratic equations. The first method is by factoring. There's something called the zero factor property. Zero factor property or theorem.
Interject just for a moment. We're making the assumption you've already solved equations in a previous algebra class where there was no x squared. The answer I'm looking for starts with an L. Do y'all remember, what do you call an equation that doesn't have any variables? Starts with an L. Not circular, but linear. Yeah,
Okay.
we have linear equations, and we're going to actually solve some of those.
Well, we have to.
Yeah.
To solve them by factoring.
What we're going to do is take a quadratic equation and write it as two linear equations. But I'll be quiet now.
The zero factor property says if you have a product A times B equaling 0, then one or more of those factors must be 0. That either A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, or they could both be equal to 0. Although that shouldn't happen if they're factored correctly. Well, I guess you could if it's a perfect square. X plus 5.
Well, anyway, they don't worry about that.
Okay. So, to use the zero factor property, you'll first of all have to make sure that your equation is in the form. You need it in factored form on one side, factored form,
That descending order.
factored form on one side equals 0 on the other side. I'm not sure why you're mentioning descending order right now.
Okay.
Factored form on one side equaling 0 on the other side. You do need the equation in descending order also. If it were something like that, was it number 3, where the terms were not in descending order and we had to change it? Where was it?
Number
Oh, it was
5.
number 5. If your algebraic expression isn't in descending order, you'll have to get it in descending order. But your goal is to get it factored form on one side equaling 0 on the other. So remember, when it's factored, you have those two sets of parentheses equaling 0. That's what you need. Looking at number 10. We'll have to remind you how to solve linear equations.
Ooh. Is the camera moved? Why is it so
Yeah,
lopsided?
it's all lopsided, isn't it? There.
Okay. Oh, let me show number 10 again.
So we're solving the equation. This is number 10, and we're not factoring. They want us to solve. Here's the equation. 4r squared plus 19r plus 21 equals 0. 4r squared plus 19r plus 21 is equal to 0. They sure are using a lot of different variables. If I ruled the world, that'd be one of my first laws, that if it's algebra of a single variable, you have to use X. Okay, I'd outlaw variables like B because B's start looking like 6s.
And S's
Look like 5s. I'd outlaw an S unless you're working with a position function, okay, for historic purposes. But it seems like there's a lot of different letters today. Where are the X's? Okay. You already have the equation written in descending order. You need descending order equals 0, and that's what you have. So I'll make a note. This is descending order
I don't think your microphone's right.
equals 0.
Oh, there it is.
We have to get this thing in factored form. 4r squared. Well, you could have what times what will give you 4? 1r times 4r. I'll go ahead and stick on the r's. Normally I just write 1 times 4. And 2r times 2r.
Actually, that might not be a bad thing to do.
For 21, what times what will give me 21?
121.
1 times 21 is
7
3.
times.
Okay, I'll write it as 3 times 7. It's just the way I write them, small to big. So, anything else? No? Okay, we know something nice about the parentheses. About the signs. What do we know about the signs?
They're both going to be plus.
Okay, the last sign's a plus. So you have two of the first signs. I agree, a plus and a plus.
That's the first line of the table. The second sign is plus, two of the first.
Now, what times what gives me 4r squared? What do you want to try? I haven't factored this problem before, so I don't know which factorization would do it. 1r and 4r or 2r and 2r. What do you want to try first?
2R and 2R.
So if you don't know, try the closer pair. More times than not, that does work. 2r and 2r. Now, what times what will give us 21? Do you want to use 1 times 21? Or do you want to use 3 times 7?
3 times 7.
3 times 7? Fortunately, since those are both 2's, it doesn't really matter whether you put the 3 there and the 7 there or vice versa. Let's check. Is this going to give us what we need? What's the outer product?
17R. Oh, I'm sorry, 14R.
2 times 7, that's a 14r.
I don't know why I said 17.
That's fine.
What last times, inner times inner, what's the inner product?
6R.
Oh, we were so close, but is that going to do it? 14r plus 6r, that gives us a plus 20r. Is that what we needed?
You didn't
No.
miscopy the problem.
Make sure I didn't miscopy the problem. 4r squared plus 19r plus 21.
Okay.
No, okay.
Reversing the 3 and 7 isn't going to change anything, so
I can already tell 1 and 21 aren't going to work. Don't bother writing this down, but let me show you how I can tell that. Just because I've folded it out real fast. 21 times 2, that's giving me a 42. I'm trying to get a 19r. So with a 42 plus something else, that's going to be way too big. So that cannot possibly work. That would give you a 42 plus 2, so a 44r. No, that one doesn't work. So what do we have to conclude about 2r and 2r?
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Well, all hope isn't lost yet because we still have the 1r and the 4r. Let's try the 1r and the 4r.
and we know, if you look at the instructions, it doesn't give us a choice of no solution or not, factorable or anything. So there's going to be an answer.
Okay, so we're trying 1r and 4r. What do we want to try? Do we want to try the 3 and the 7 or the 1 and the 21? Once again, I think using a 21 would get something way bigger than 19.
Because
All the stuff is positive.
Yeah.
We'd be taking 21 times something and adding more to it. So 1 and 21 can't possibly work. If it's factorable, we're going to have to use the 3 and the 7. Do you have a feeling, playing it out in your head? If we put the 7 there, 7 times 4 is what? 28? That's way too big. So if the 3 and 7 are going to work, it'll have to be like that. Now let's check. What's the outer product?
7R.
7r, okay, I agree. That's a 7r. What's the inner product?
12R.
Okay. 12r plus 7r gives me 19r, a positive 19r. Is that what I needed? Yes, so we have the correct factorization.
So I go over there and type in r plus 3 and 4r plus 7?
No, because we're trying to solve an equation. When it says solve, you expect your answer to be r equals,
Two numbers.
I'll just say numbers. R equals, your answer, the thing you're going to be typing will be numbers.
No parentheses, no variables.
The zero factor property says that if something's multiplied together equaling 0, one or more of those factors must be 0. So that means r plus 3 has to equal 0.
This is the new part of the problem, what you're doing.
R plus 3 is equal to 0, or 4r plus 7 is equal to 0. These are linear equations, so you're going to have to remember how to solve a linear equation. We need to get that r by itself. Okay, what do we do to that plus 3 in order to get just the r by itself? We don't want that plus 3 on the left side anymore. Subtract 3, it's that equal, it's like a scales. You're taking away 3 pounds from the left, so you take away 3 pounds from the right. All you have left then is r on the left. 0 minus 3 gives me what? Negative 3. And that's my first solution. Negative 3 is the first solution I found. Now we need to solve the second linear equation, 4r plus 7 equals 0. I need the r by itself. That means I have to get rid of the 4 and I have to get rid of that 7. What do I get rid of first? Okay, you undo the addition and subtraction first. So you say minus 7 and minus 7. So you just have 4r on the left. And what have we got on the right? 0 minus 7 is negative 7. When I saw this solving linear equations the first time, my teacher didn't talk about inverse operations, doing the opposite operation the way we do here nowadays. What they said was for addition and subtraction, you pick the number up, you move it to the other side of the equal sign and change the sign. That's called transposition or transposing terms. That's what we did. Pick the plus 7 up, moved it to the other side, changed it to a negative 7. So if you saw transposing terms, it's the same thing as what I'm doing by doing the opposite operation the way we did. Now that's 4 times r. We need to get the r by itself. What will undo multiplication? Division is the inverse operation of multiplication. So whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other side. So divide by 4, divide by 4. 4 divided by 4, the 4's cancel, just leaving you r, 1r equals a negative 7 over 4 for my second solution.
So, back in the olden days, there was a time when I taught factoring a lot. Math 371, I loved it. I taught factoring. We spent 6 weeks on factoring in Math 371. And what I tell students for solving linear equations, well, for factoring, I made the table. For solving linear equations, I'd say to solve a linear equation, perform the opposite operation to both sides of the equation, beginning with addition and subtraction. So the opposite of adding 7, subtract 7. Opposite of multiplying by 4, divide by 4.
Here's your little blue box of my lab. There it is. What you're going to do, you have to type in those 2 answers. The order doesn't matter, but if you have an integer, it's easier to type the integer first, comma, and then the fraction. If you put the fraction first, you have to worry about getting out of the denominator and not typing the -3 in the denominator. But when you're solving an equation, you expect your final answer to be numbers. If I plug in -3 in place of the r's and simplify, the left side would reduce to 0. If I replaced the r's with -7/4 and simplified everything, the left side would also reduce to 0. Any questions there? Solving by factoring, well, you have to get, the major work is getting it factored. Then you'll wind up with a couple of linear equations, and you have to remember how to solve linear equations.
Isolate the variable. That's
Isolate the
the phrase your
variable.
teacher might have said. Let's do number 12. Oh, I like this one.
Number 12. 12a plus a squared plus 35 is equal to 0. And the instructions just say solve. And you'll notice the way it says over there, a equals. If the answer part says variable equals, that's your clue. You're looking for numbers as your final answer, okay? Switch to the my paper. There. There's something fundamentally flawed with this problem. What is it?
It's not in that order.
It's not in the right order. We need descending order on one side and 0 on the other side. Great, we already have a 0 on the right side, but how are we going to change up the left side? What am I going to write first?
A squared
A squared, the one with the biggest exponent, and then
plus 12 squared.
that's an assumed positive, so a plus 12a plus
35.
equals 0. Okay. We know something nice about the signs. What do we know? Inside our parentheses,
It's a plus.
they're going to be pluses. The second sign's a plus, so you'll have 2 of those first signs. So we'll have pluses inside the parentheses. That's good. Oh, there's something else that's really nice here. This is referred to, what's the leading coefficient? I don't see a number in front of a squared. What do we assume it is? 1. That's a simple trinomial because it's simple to fill in the first spot. A times A, 1 times 1. We know when we're factoring this, we're going to have pluses. And the only possibility is 1A times 1A for the first spot. Well, what about 35? What times what gives us 35? That's an arrow. That's a bad looking arrow.
35 times 1.
Okay, so 1 times 35 or
5 times
5 times 7, and that is all. That's the only possibility.
A simple trinomial
Is
simple to factor.
because you can choose the correct pair because it has to either add or subtract to give you that middle number there. When you don't have numbers in front of the first set of the first terms in the parentheses, to choose the pair there that you use, it has to either add or subtract to give you this number here. In this case, add. What pair adds together to give you 12? 1 plus 35 or 5 plus 7?
5 plus 7.
5 and 7.
Why didn't we do these problems, simple trinomials, right off?
Because it gives bad idea. It puts bad ideas into your head.
Everyone starts just looking at the last ones.
And trying to, oh, look at this one over here. We didn't use the one that added up to 19, but that doesn't work. Oh, which one adds up to 19?
You gotta look at the outer and inner.
The only time you can do this is when that leading coefficient is just a 1. Then the pair you use has to either add or subtract to give you that number there. What's the outer product? Tell me the outer product. Let's just verify that I've Factor this correctly, and I'm not just making this all up. What's the outer product?
The 5A.
7A.
A positive 7A. What's the inner product? A positive 5A. 5 plus 7 is a positive 12A. Is that what we needed? Yes, it is. That's what we needed. Are we through with the problem? If it were said factor, we'd write in those parentheses, but that's not what it says. It says solve. So we set each factor equal to 0. Solving the first one, we'll have A equals -5. I read your lips. So there's one of the solutions. The next one, A equals -7. We did -7 on both sides, or you can just think of picking it up, moving it over, and changing the sign the way I learned it years ago.
But I'm sure that your teacher years ago did the universal.
I can assure you that actually, maybe she did. Maybe Janet,
Mrs. Clark.
Mrs. Clark. Why did I call her her first name? I'm going to look her up the next time we go to one of my favorite high school math teachers. We were visiting graveyards back in Nacogdoches, and her husband died, and she's got her marker with her name on it, but she's still alive. I thought I should look her up. But then I think that would just be weird. I'd be worried. Suppose she doesn't remember me.
What do you think? She remembers you from 1980.
Okay.
What?
I would say we were some of her great success stories. We made the front page of
Yeah, you're right.
We even made the Dallas Morning News and the Houston Post.
Yeah, we
and
were
so on
very, very smart.
back in the day. Okay. Okay. Any question? Oh, we've gone on to this one.
Number 15.
There's something fundamentally wrong with number 15 also. Other than that B, I'll tell you again. I'll tell you like I told my class last year. And they were so fascinated with how did I plan to take over the world? Did I have a plan? Oh no, I just hope one day I get to. It just happens.
One day you win the
But if I
lottery.
did, I would not allow those B variables. I'd be a very benevolent dictator. All of my laws would just pertain to making math easier, I suppose. Okay, so, and y'all laugh at me, but after all the years of teaching, students
We've been
change
doing nothing but
B's
this
to
all
C.
your lifetime. Okay, the whole time you've been born. Some of you,
Most
been
of
doing
it here.
Yeah.
Most of it here at this school. This is our 36th year here, There's something fundamentally wrong with this problem, and I'm waiting for y'all to tell me what it is. It's not equal to 0. Okay. So what do you think I'm going to do? I don't want that 12 on the right side. What am I going to do? So that's an assumed positive. So what's the inverse operation of plus? Minus. So I'm going to have a 20b squared plus b, and it'll become a minus 12. Either you go minus 12, or just pick it up, move it to the other side, and change the signs. Well, if it's okay with you, I'm going to start this at the top. I'm afraid it's going to take a lot of 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5, 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. I'm afraid it's going to take a lot of paper. So I'm moving to the top of this page here. This is 15, and it's continued. We've got it written as 20b squared plus b minus 12 equals 0. Hopefully, you've realized that it's a lot nicer when that last sign's a plus. It's easier to factor when that last sign's a plus.
But this is the last problem, so.
Okay. For 20b squared, we could have a 1 times 20b, or 1b times 20b, or 2b times 10b, or what did I say, 4b times 5b? What about the 12?
1b times 12.
No, there's no b on this one.
Just
Oh.
1 times 12.
12.
I'm going to stop sticking on the variables there. I should have just done 1 times 20. That b, all those b's makes that look so busy.
Especially since it
And
looks like
then
a 6.
2 times 2 times,
6.
or
3 times 3.
3 times 4. How about
3
3
times
times 4? And then we'll write our 2 sets of parentheses. And what did y'all say about the signs? I didn't write that down. Last sign's a minus.
2 pluses, 2 minuses, or 1 of each?
1 each.
One of each. The last sign's a minus, so you'll have 1 plus and 1 minus. I'll use red. I'll wait to fill that in. What do y'all want to start with here? What's the coefficient on that b term right there?
1.
Just 1? So I think you're going to need numbers that are real close together. So,
Another thing, every one of these possibilities over here has even numbers.
oh, you're right.
2 and 10 can't possibly work.
If you use 2 and 10, you're going to be pairing either the 4 or the 2 and the, both of those would be with even. You pair the 12 with an even. 2b and 10b cannot work. Do y'all see why we're saying that?
Plus you wind up with 2 even
You'll
numbers.
wind up with 2 even numbers in the parentheses.
Well, go ahead and start
So
with the
really-
4b and then see.
I think the 4b and 5b are going to work. Which pair do y'all want to start with over here? It doesn't make any difference to me. I'll let y'all choose the pair.
Well, I'm going to
No.
say something.
What?
Don't do the 2 and 6. Why?
If you try the 2 and the
It can't,
6,
a 2 can't go here. A 6 can't go there.
because either way you wind up with the
2 even numbers.
and so there.
3 and 4.
Okay.
3 and 4. Could I put the 4 here? No, because then you'd have the same number. 4 and 4 are both divisible by 4. So if you're going to use the 3 and the 4, you better put the 3 there, the 4 there. Let's
Oh.
check. What's our outer product? 4b times 4 gives me 16b, I agree. What's the inner product? 3 times 5b is 15b. Remember, if the last sign's a minus, you have to subtract those terms in a way to get that number right there. Can 15 and 16 subtract in a way to give me a positive 1b? Yes, you could have well, okay, play it out in your head. You want a positive 1b. What should be positive then?
The 16.
The 16, the
Bigger
bigger
number.
number, always takes that sign there. So 16 is positive, 15 is negative.
And when you just said the bigger number, you mean of the outer and
Of
inner.
the outer and inner. Of the two numbers you have written down there, the bigger one will always have that sign, the first sign. Okay, keep on playing it out in your head. I want a positive 16b. So, where should the plus go? To get a positive 16, should I put the plus there or in front of that 4 in the second set? Which one?
In the second set.
I agree. The plus should go there, the minus should go there. And check. 4b times a positive 4 is a positive 16b. Negative 3 times 5b is a negative 15b. Yes. And the outer and inner now combine to give us the positive 1b that we needed.
So do I type that in?
What have we got to do? The instruction said solve, which means I have to do what? Equal the factors to 0. Take 4b minus 3, set it equal to 0. Set 5b plus 4 equal to 0.
Solving the first equation, what do I need to do?
Move the 3 over.
Move the 3 over so that minus 3 becomes a
Positive 3.
positive 3. So we have a 4b equals positive 3. Then that's 4 times b. Divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 cancels out to just give us 1b equals 3/4. There's my first solution that I found. Now the second solution.
You're smart to move to the next page.
Okay. What will I do first to solve this linear equation?
Move the 4.
Move the 4 over. So we have 5b equals.
Negative 4.
So 5b equals negative 4. And then to get rid of the 5.
Divided by both sides.
Okay, divide both sides by 5. And a word of warning. When you're undoing the addition and subtraction and move it over, the sign changes. But when you're dividing, you don't divide by a negative 5. You divide by the exact number. 5 divided by 5. You want it to cancel out just to give you 1b equals negative 4/5.
And since we've already started talking about moving the stuff around, when we made that initial statement that A must be positive, where was it? Right when I started all of
When we
this
started.
nightmare here, I said that number has to be positive. The main thing we're going to be using this factoring for is solving quadratic equations. Therefore, flipping it, if there's ever a time when this number's negative, just move it over to make it positive. And we'll see that
The
next
time.
week. Okay? So let me punch these in. Oh, be careful. 3/4. Do not put the comma down there.
Now, some programmers went through it. Used to be if you put the comma in the denominator, it automatically said wrong. Well, somebody decided, oh, I'm going to change that, and they changed some of the problems.
Some of the code.
But they didn't change it all. Especially once we get to interval notation. If you put your comma in the denominator, the answer is wrong. So don't even make that never even start to do it.
Do y'all see that comma's in the denominator? What you should do is, let me get rid of that, right arrow,
Right arrow.
now
and
the comma.
And
Okay?
then the next fraction, negative 4/5.
I know this factoring just takes a lot of work and practice. We didn't do every one of these, but there was one of them. Let's see, is this it? This is the one that can be a little scary. Imagine if this 6 had been a 16.
You go through all the possibilities and it's still nothing
I
works.
remember as a student, I hated those on tests. Oh, wow. Just keep going and going, trying to figure out if it factors. So I'll do y'all a favor right now and tell you something about your midterm. There are no primes on that midterm, okay? So you got to do that for the for the homework, struggle through those primes, but not on your midterm. Okay?
Y'all want to do another one? We all ready to go? Been going almost 2 hours.
We better go ahead and let them go.
Okay, we've opened up some more assignments. Now, is everyone getting their, first of all, any questions over this? And I know this is awful to say. We didn't do every one of the problems because I'm not being graded, okay? But
We're doing the ones that we think best help you be able to do them.
But you need to do all the problems, okay? So you get 100. You should be working towards 100 on every homework assignment. You can keep redoing the problem until you get it right. And